Hey, welcome back to Bible Talk. We are in the book of Genesis, chapter 34. I've tried to do this intro about 5 times now, and I keep messing up my words. So I'm just going to get into this and try to get through this chapter. For some reason, my brain isn't working right tonight. So let's just let the Bible speak for itself, because I'm not a whole lot of help right now. I know this is a great story. There's a lot of life lessons to be learned. So I'll do my best to explain what I learned in this chapter. It says, now Dinah, the daughter Leah had born to Jacob, went out to visit the women of the land. And I guess so. She has 12 brothers, so I'm sure she wants to get away from them. When Shechem, son of Hamor the Hittite, the ruler of that area, saw her, he took her and raped her. His heart was drawn to Dinah, daughter of Jacob. He loved the young woman and spoke tenderly to her. All right, stories like this can confuse people, because some people think because it's in the Bible, God is okay with it. And that's never the case. Anytime polygamy is mentioned in the Bible, it's always in a negative context. Anytime rape is mentioned in the Bible, it's always with terrible repercussions. And God says, if it does happen, we'll get into that later in the law, but if it happens, then there's some serious consequences. And so here we see Dinah hanging out in the world, so to speak. She went down to the regular world, and whenever you spend time in the world will try to take advantage of you, as we see in this story. She got away from her family. She got away from Israel, her dad, or Jacob, same person. She went into the world to see what the world was like, and we see the world took advantage of her. And I find it so interesting that Shechem's heart was drawn to her. After he did this dastardly deed, he was drawn to her. And it's almost like once we dip into once the world takes advantage of us, when we're in the world, it never just stops there. It wants more of us. And I think that's what this picture is portraying, is he took advantage of Dinah, he raped her, and now he wants more of her. It says, he loved the young woman and spoke tenderly to her. And Shechem said to his father Hamor, get me this girl as my wife. When Jacob heard that his daughter Dinah had been defiled, his sons were in the fields with his livestock. So he did nothing about it until they came home. Here we see a father who does nothing about this evil thing that's gone on. Then Shechem's father Hamor went out to talk with Jacob. Meanwhile, Jacob's son had come in from the field as soon as they heard what had happened. So now we see Jacob not there. He didn't take care of it. He didn't go and talk to this guy or talk to the Lord. And now we're going to see his sons step in and fill that role here. They were shocked and furious because Shechem had done an outrageous thing in Israel by sleeping with Jacob's daughter, a thing that should not be done. But Hamor said to them, my son Shechem has his heart set on your daughter. Please give her to him as his wife. Intermarry with us. Give us your daughters and take our daughters for yourselves. You can settle among us. The land is open to you. Live in it, trade in it, and acquire property in it. He's saying, look this is going to be a great deal. This is a great agreement here. We can make this work. We can make this happen if you just give my son your daughter. Remember, he's talking to Jacob's sons right now. And here we see, remember, Jacob's name means heel snatcher, and we see his sons kind of adopting that same mentality in the story. It says, then Shechem said to Dinah's father and brothers, let me find favor in your eyes, and I will give you whatever you ask. Make the price for the bride and the gift I am to bring as great as you like, and I'll pay whatever you ask me. Only give me the young woman as my wife. He seems a little desperate here to me, which again still baffles me, because he took her and raped her, and now he's begging to have her. It's just a lot going on. Because her sister Dinah had been defiled, Jacob's son replied deceitfully. Here we go. Here's the Jacobness coming out. As they spoke to Shechem and his father Hamor, they said to them, "We can't do such a thing. We can't give our sister to a man who is not circumcised. That would be a disgrace to us. We will enter into an agreement with you on one condition only, that you become like us by circumcising all your males." So now they're making a deal saying, well, the only way we can intermarry is if every one of you guys gets circumcised, just like we are. Well, then we will give you our daughters and take your daughters for ourselves. We'll settle among you and become one people with you. But if you will not agree to be circumcised, we'll take our sister and go. I just picture this agreement going on, and can you imagine being Shechem here and now he has to go convince every guy in their city, in their town, that they need to get circumcised. Talk about a crazy proposal. The proposal seemed good to Hamor and his son Shechem. The young man, who was the most honored of all his father's family, lost no time in doing what they said, because he was delighted with Jacob's daughter. So Hamor and his son Shechem went to the gate of their city to speak to the men of their city. "These men are friendly toward us," they said. "Let them live in our land and trade in it. The land has plenty of room for them. We can marry their daughters and they can marry ours, but the men will agree to live with us as one people only on the condition that our males be circumcised." So now he's turning into a salesman. "As they themselves are, won't their livestock, their property, and all their other animals become ours? So let us agree to their terms and they will settle among us." So he's saying, look, if we make this agreement, we can just take everything that they have. Once they're living among us, we can just take it all. Everything they have will be ours. So that's his selling point here, which seems to be always the way the world works, right? When the world wants to get something, it's all about selling points. You know, if you do this, just think of what you can get in return. And this reminds me of Satan in the garden, right? If you eat of this fruit, you will be like God, he says to Eve. And Satan's always trying to sell something. He's always promising something that is just vain. And vanity means emptiness. And here we see this guy is selling the entire city this empty promise. All the men who went out of the city gate agreed with Hamor and his son Shechem, and every male in the city was circumcised. 3 days later, while all of them were still in pain, 2 of Jacob's sons, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took their swords and attacked the unsuspecting city, killing every male. So here we see the brothers taking things into their own hands. They are furious that their sister was defiled in that way. And here we see a father not stepping up and taking control of the situation. We see brothers having to try and fill that role that the father should be in. And as a result, they slaughter every male in the city. And I think that's just such a great lesson for dads, you know, for me included, that, man, fathers, parents, we got to step up and teach our children that the world will take advantage of them and that we're there for them when things go wrong, that we'll protect them, we'll love them. Most importantly, we'll teach them and we'll train them in the ways that they should go, as the Bible says. They put Hamor and his son Shechem to the sword and took Dinah from Shechem's house and left. The sons of Jacob came upon the dead bodies and looted the city where their sister had been defiled. So now, not only are they mass murderers, but now they're thieves. They looted everything. Remember, they only killed all the men, so everybody else is still there. And so now they're just looting everything. They seized their flocks, their herds and donkeys, and everything else of theirs in the city and out of the field. This is why later on we're going to see the law eye for an eye. It's because human tendency is to take, if you take one of my eyes, I'm taking both of your eyes. If you hit me once, I'm going to punch you twice and kick you in the shin and push you down. You know, human tendency is not one for one. It's you hurt me, I'm going to get you back tenfold. And that's why God puts parameters on things, eye for an eye. And then Jesus will even go further and clarify this. You know, he says, if they slap you on one cheek, turn to them the other cheek. And that's the heart of the Father. It's not to retaliate, but at the same time, God always protects those who are hurting other people. We see Jesus going into the temple and casting out the money changers because they were taking advantage of people. You know, God is a righteous God, and he won't allow people to hurt people and people to take advantage of people. It's so fun. It's so interesting. You know, he teaches you at this, you know, if somebody's hurting you, okay, turn the other cheek. But at the same time, if you see somebody hurting another person, you know, step in and you know, protect the weak. He's in the widows and the orphans, and he's saying look out for other people, but also be humble, be meek, turn the other cheek. It's just such a fine balance that we see in Jesus Christ. It's so amazing. But here we see these brothers going way overboard. They carried off all their wealth and all their women and children, taking as plunder everything in the house. Then Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, here we go. Now Jacob wants to step in now that they've done this. You have brought trouble on me by making me obnoxious to the Canaanites and the Perizzites, the people living in this land. We are few in number, and they join forces against me and attack me. I and my household will be destroyed. So he's freaking out because he knows that this news is going to spread to other towns and that people are going to come after him. Again, we don't see him go to the Lord and pray. We see him focused on himself. You know, what have you guys done to me? You know, you have brought this on me. When they're saying, how come you didn't protect your daughter? How come you didn't step in when something bad happened to your daughter? But they replied, should he have treated our sister like a prostitute? So, and that's the end of the chapter. So this chapter is such a great story because I feel like as parents, and this is something I feel like our culture has gotten away from, even from when I was a kid. And I can just imagine when my grandma was a kid. You know, there was a time where people were embarrassed about stuff, and that's no longer the case. I saw a study, people don't blush anymore. They're not embarrassed about anything anymore. And I feel like parents need to step in and put parameters around their children. And that's not popular to say anymore, which is so confusing to me. You know, you can't allow your children to mingle with the world and not expect them to be taken advantage of or not expect them to come back hurt. Now, some people might say that it's legalism, but I think that's just wisdom. You know, you can prevent a lot of hurt if you just teach, or you know, or me, if I would just teach my child, our children, if we have more, that there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. And if you know, like these stories, God put these stories in here to teach us lessons. And there's such good lessons to learn. You know, be a father. Don't let your children stand up for justice. You know, be a father. Don't let your children go off and do whatever they want, because nothing good will come of it. Teach them right from wrong, and then if they do go off into the world, when they come back, take care of the problem. And we see Jacob not doing any of this, and as a result, man, there's a lot of disaster in this story. This is a great story, a great lesson to learn. Finally, the next chapter, we're going to see Jacob return to Bethel, and we're going to continue on. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you thought about this chapter. If you had any more ideas, make sure to like, subscribe, so you don't miss any more Through the Bibles or anything else that I post. All right, until next time.